Welcome and thank you for tuning in. Now, I'm genuinely in a really good mood today. It's been a bit of a strange, slow summer to be honest, but I had a very productive meeting this morning about something that will be happening in the future. Now, I'm teasing a bit really because I can't announce it just yet, but we are starting to firm up some dates. We know when it's happening, but I think I should be able to announce it by the end of next month, so please keep an eye out for that. Also, even more exciting, well for me at least, is that my first self-published portfolio book should be out this year. Hopefully. I seem to have got myself quite busy all of a sudden, but the plan is to have it finished by the end of next month, and then hopefully have physical copies in my hand by November. So I'll let you know as soon as it's available to order. Now today, it's a lovely day actually. It's overcast, just soft diffused cloudy light, but the woodland feels fantastic. It's perfectly still. Wonderful smells. It's kind of going through patches of mustiness and sweetness. So yeah, I'm really quite looking forward to having a good route around and see what I can find. I am, as usual, treating it as a scouting mission, just kind of keeping my expectations low, but yeah, hopefully we'll find something quite cool. Now, I am in my project Oakwood, but I'm not particularly looking for oak trees today because it's that time of year where the rowan trees really start to shine. I love rowan trees, beautiful delicate leaves, and now they're adorned with those beautiful glossy berries. So yeah, hopefully we'll find some nice examples here. So let's go for a wander, see what we can find. I know I said I was looking for rowan trees, and there is a rowan tree in this scene, just hidden in the background, but it's more about the oak arching over the very steep-sided valley here. In fact, I feel a little bit precarious in this position. But before I get into this, I just wanted to thank you very much for the positive feedback that I had on my last video a couple of weeks ago. I did go back to that woodland a week later. The conditions weren't quite as magical, but there was some wonderful fog, and I made 1 or 2 images then, which again I'm really quite happy with. So I'll just put 1 or 2 up on the screen now, see what you make of those. I'm really happy with the image of that dead oak tree just having its last dance within the community by the looks of it. But equally, I really like that young rowan tree just sat as that little sapling beneath the giants. Yeah, I quite like that too. Anyway, back to this. So the light's just flattened somewhat, but I have made an image already. But it kind of works for this. Yes, I might have another look in the fog, but I think this sort of softer, much more quiet light works quite well for this, and here's the reason why. So we've got the oak tree anchored on the steep hillside, comes up, arches over, and then that's framing a birch tree in the background. Sitting beyond the birch tree, we're getting a hint of the speckles of orange and red from the rowan berries. Actually, there's a bright orange patch down in the valley, which is actually the beck, which looks a bit disturbing, but it's just where there's some runoff from the old iron ore. There is a particular word for it, I can't remember what it is, but that's what's causing the orange colour down there. And now beyond this oak tree, we've also got a series of silver birch down in the valley, a taller one there. But the way that the light is hitting those leaves, the foreground oak tree, there's some really dark, sort of deeper, flatter greens. Then we're getting some backlit oak leaves, which are a different hue of green, and there's some yellow coming through. We've got the green and yellow moss too. But then as we move out of the canopy and we're getting a sense of a light hitting the top of the birch trees, there's some different kind of more aqua colours, but then almost white. In fact, in the camera, it's going to probably look almost pure white. I wouldn't want to cut through that with a polarizer, because that's part of the appeal of the scene for me, is to get that contrast of colours. And yes, it's an image of the oak tree, but just as important in this scene is that feeling of different hues, different layers of colour, but also that feeling of texture. And I think that feeling of texture is what we're going to get from the birch leaves down there. So yeah, I really quite like it. It is just about the wonderful array of summer colours. It isn't all just flat green. There's lots of great scenes to capture. It'll probably work as a square, but I might just be able to get it in a 4.5. I'm at 24mm, which is quite unusual for me to be shooting that wide. In fact, I could probably do with something a little bit wider. Just focusing on the arching branch, which is just a little bit further into the scene, just to get some better depth of field overall. So yeah, see what you make of that. I quite like it, just that really soft light and yeah, nice summery textured feel to it. See what you think. Good girl. Spotted any nice rowan trees yet, Meg? Lovely berries down there. Come on, this way. Good girl. Now, how cool but slightly freaky and disturbing is this? Now, this is what initially caught my attention, is this fantastic silver birch just fused into this oak tree. But this odd looking guy is a beefsteak fungus. Now, prior to doing the video with Lucy, I knew nothing about mushrooms and fungus, but then we ended up eating some chicken of the woods, and ever since then I've been really quite fascinated and keep my eye out for funky looking things such as this. Now, apparently it is edible. And it's called beefsteak fungus because it literally looks like a slab of beef. It even bleeds. If you see the juices on the top, it looks like a bleeding lump of beef. Really very odd. In fact, there's some juice just coming out the side there. I mean, look at that. It is literally just like blood. Absolutely nuts. I don't know if that's going to, probably not going to focus. It's trying to focus on my eye. There we go. There we go. really odd. Yeah, somebody who follows me on Instagram told me that they are parasitic to living oak trees. So I probably wouldn't feel too bad about cutting one and eating it. Apparently they're quite sour and acidic, but work quite well in salads. And I also read that the wood from these trees are very sought after by carpenters, you know, wood turners, because this fungus will cause the wood to have this kind of reddish brownish tinge inside. So yeah, really quite oh yeah, and really quite soft and tender, that bit as well, like a lump of beef. So yeah, now is the time of year to look out for things like this. In August, they'll be around for a while. This is quite a young one, probably quite tasty, but we'll certainly get somewhat bigger, I think. So yeah, always learning, always learning. But yeah, keep an eye out. Very, very cool. I've struggled to find any nicely positioned rowan trees that are working under today's conditions, so I've come back to one which I found quite recently, and it has to be said, it is a fantastic rowan tree. I've passed it in the wintertime when I didn't realise it was a rowan, and I thought it had a lovely haunting quality to it. And then when I realised it was a rowan, I thought, well, surely it can't fruit in abundance because it looks like an old struggling tree. It's hollowing at the bottom, it looks as if it has to be propped up by the birch tree next to it. But look at it, it is absolutely embellished with berries, these fantastic arching branches which just look as if they're being weighed down by the amount of berries that are hanging from there. It is wonderful. I mean, I think the character and mood of the tree warrants photographing it under moody conditions, if that's possible. But as it is today, under the soft cloudy light, I'm quite happy to make an image. And it might not have the drama or the mood or anything like that, but I don't care. I just really want to photograph this, and it's just been adorned with these wonderful bright red berries. I'm keeping things nice and simple, got myself in an elevated position, take advantage of that opposite valley side to omit the sky, so we can concentrate on as much form of the tree as we possibly can. I don't want to, sometimes I like to go in and take a portion of a rowan tree in the berries, but I think in this instance, because of the wonderful arching branches, I want to get all of those in. The arch on the right, multiple arches on the left, a branch reaching out at the bottom, separating those clusters of berries from the birch tree in the background on the left hand side, and just trying to make those fantastic qualities stand proud. So yeah, really simple composition. See what you make of that. But I think I'm going to see if I can find a different angle and try and do something a little bit tighter and more intimate as well. I've really enjoyed exploring this rowan tree a little bit more and found some fantastic angles, but now the light is terrible. It's dwindling, flat grey, so I think I'll have to come back on a different day, but very happy with the positive start that I've made today. As you've probably seen by the B-roll, I've found some really quite interesting mushrooms, weird, wonderful, freaky, slightly disturbing in some cases, but I hope you've enjoyed that aspect. It's certainly not going to replace me photographing trees, but the mushrooms, the fungus, it's a very important part of the life cycle of woodland. So I am going to take a bit of an interest in mycology, just as part of my overall fascination with woodland. So yeah, I hope you quite like that element as well. Right, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.